This story unfolds what happened a few days ago at India's most major airlines, which inflicted suffering to many people who got stuck on the airport and which shocked not only the nation but the entire world. Nowadays, nobody knows what's happening to the country anymore. But one thing is clear, boss. Flying in India has turned into a survival test. At major airport, lakhs of passengers, children, senior citizens, sick people are stuck in an endless queue. Some are sleeping on the floor, some are spending entire nights starting at the departure boards like it's a horror movie trailer. Flights aren't just late, they are delayed by 18 to 20 hours, as if the time itself has boarded a wrong aircraft. And after waiting for half of their lifetime, many passengers hear a magical announcement. Your flight has been cancelled off. Weddings missed, exams missed, business deals gone, honeymoon cancelled off, families reunion postponed indefinitely. People planned vacations and ended up planning airport sleepovers instead. Indian airports lately don't feel like airports at all. They look like more of like an overcrowded bus depot during a peak monsoon season. Only the difference is this is full of AC. Some passengers are lying flat on the ground, some are arguing with the exhausted staff, some are shouting slogans, some are protesting, most of the people are angry with the staff and on the verge of attacking the staff. People were going haywire and the youth of the India as usual, most of them were posting on Twitter and X in the hope that may the flights take off or not, but hopefully our post or our tweet may take off and we can become an influencer. Anyways, let's not divert the story from the airlines to the youth and come back to our main story. In just few days of December, over 2,000 flights were cancelled off. In the meanwhile, the few flights still operating suddenly had ticket prices shoot up 10 to 20 times, because why not to kick people when they are already grounded and needy and helpless? It reached a point where flying from Delhi to Ranchi or Guwahati cost more than flying from Delhi to London or from Delhi or from Mumbai to Amsterdam. So basically, a flight from Mumbai to Amsterdam or Mumbai to London felt cheaper as compared to regional flights. The government finally jumped in and said to airlines, please don't loot the people in the daylight. A price cap has to be finally forcefully announced, and basically a polite way of saying from the government, stop behaving like pirates and stop looting the people with all the landing prices hike. Now let's be very clear, this disaster wasn't caused by some external entities. This disaster wasn't caused by Pakistan or China or Khalistani, neither by urban nexus or by some hackers, or even neither with natural calamities like floods or cyclones, something like that. Nothing. The blame wasn't gone on these. But then, whom to blame? People started blaming, of course, the airlines itself and the staff mismanagement. But also, the highlight is people also started blaming the government. Unfortunately, people asked, then how to blame the government? So some people were blaming the government, and in counter, it was a question how the government is wrong here. If the flight and if the staff is mismanaged, if the airlines is to be blamed, the blunder is from airlines, how come government is to be blamed off? So one question is real over here. Who allowed one airline to become so powerful that it controls more than half the aviation market? Who let a private company grow so strong that the government bends within 24 hours? If an opposition leader had shown this level of arrogance, if say, hypothetically, they would have been behind the bars by the weekend. But when it becomes a monopoly by one person, by one industrialist in the entire sector, he becomes like an autocrat. So जिसकी लाठी उसका बल, so जिसके पास बल है वो सब कुछ करेगा basically. And this isn't just about one airline. This is the story of New India, when profits matter more than passengers and balance sheet matters more than safety. When one company controls 60 to 65% and essential service and they don't serve the customer, they command them, and that's exactly what happened. Think about few days back what episode happened with the farmers. To get unjust laws repealed, they protested for over a year. More than 800 lives were lost. They faced lathi charges, tear gas, freezing winters, and rubber bullets were fired. All this thing to get one law or one rule to be removed. Now compare that thing with this. There is a common analogy. One airline, one major disruption, and within 2 days the government gave the relief. Basically, is it a coincidence or just a mere accident or a carefully timed pressure tactic? We will come to this in a while, but look around. Aviation isn't just the only sector where this kind of mismanagement or this kind of control structure is being happening. You take any other industry, may it be telecom, ports, cement, airports, anything. In one sector, the entire power is given to one person or one industrialist, and thus that one person and industrialist become the autocrat. He become the utmost rule imposer. Everywhere you will find 2 to 3 industrialists, giants controlling the entire sector, and that's where problem occurs. When markets turn into monopolies or duopolies, policies don't serve citizens anymore. They serve boardrooms. Prices rise, services fall, and the customers are left shouting in the void because there's nowhere else to go. Because chit be berry or pat be merry, where the person will go, where the common man will go. If the entire thing, the person who is doing is one and the person who is making it do is also the same person. So today we are not just talking about flights, we are decoding India's monopoly playbook, how it's built, how it's protected, and how it slowly crushes your choices. But first, let's rewind and understand how the aviation mess actually started. In Jan 2024, the government revised something called FDTL rules, flight duty timing limitations. In simple words, how long the pilots can work, how many nights landing can be done, and how much rest is mandatory. The goal was simple, boss. Stop overwork. So basically, if the pilots are overworked, they get tired off, and it's not safe for the aviation. Under the new rules, pilot must get at least 48 continuous hours of rest every week. Night hours were expanded. Night landings reduced from 6 to 2 per week. Airlines must report fatigue data to the government. These rules match the global safety standards, so that is good. Nobody disagreed that the pilots in India were exhausted. Airlines, however, were not thrilled. They said, good idea, but give us some time. The case reached the Delhi High Court, which ordered phase-wise implementation. The first phase passed off smoothly, but the main problem occurred in the second phase implementation, affecting night flights, which were the real problems. Airlines were given nearly 2 years to prepare. Deadline was November 1. So the big question is, why did only one airline fall so spectacularly? There are two versions for this question. First version is from the airlines defense. They operate 2,300 flights daily. We are a low-cost carrier. They squeeze maximum usage from the aircraft and the crew, and they run the most night flights. So even a small delay triggers a massive domino effect. But then December arrives, fog, technical glitches, festive rush, staff shortages, everything explodes together, and the kingdom collapses brick by brick because of this. And one-time performance collapses, which leads to October 80% fall, November 67, then to 50%, and then to 35%, and finally it sunk to almost 8%. At that point of time, time gave up. And there is a second version now, which is believed by the pilots and the unions. They say that the airlines never plan to implement the rules properly. The business model is simple, boss: minimum staff and maximum output, or maximum work being done. So basically squeeze the people or the staff so that the maximum output can be extracted. Instead of hiring more pilots, recruitment was frozen. Then winter travel surged and the system collapsed. According to the pilot association, the crisis was allowed to spiral intentionally. Why? So the government would panic. So rules would be relaxed. So the cost could be avoided, and it worked as well. The DGCA granted a one-time exemption. Rules postponed till February. The government launched an investigation, but let's be very honest. If the real action was possible, it would have been already happened, right? Then how did one airline become so powerful enough to bend the so-called strongest government in the history? To answer that, we must look at how this monopoly was built in the first place. Ironically, the airline is also India's biggest aviation success story. It made flying affordable, it connected small towns, it changed how the India flies. But success without regulation slowly turns into a domination, and that's where the problem exactly lies. When, as initially stated, if the entire power of one sector is given to a single person, then it becomes an outright autocrat of thing. He becomes a rule maker, and that's where the problem is. Whatever things he says has to be done and implemented, and the entire sector follows. Basically, he becomes the entire sector and drives the entire sector. But the success story, as I said, without a regulation, becomes chaotic and falls apart and turns into a domination. What we are seeing isn't accidental. Just like politics is moving towards one party, one leader, business moving towards one sector and one giant. Telecom, you take example of any other industry. It's not just about the airlines or airport. You take the example of telecom, aviation, cement, ports, airports. May it be any sector you take example of, you will see the same thing being happening in any sector. one person becomes a giant and he controls the entire sector. But the question valid here is, who gave that person the entire power of one sector? That is the biggest question. And the biggest casualty is choice. When choices disappears, freedom disappears quietly. What happened at the airport today or that time will happen in other industries tomorrow, and in politics the day after, and all the other markets and services and sectors just follows the same trend. And one day, even if you want to leave, there will be nowhere else to go, because the one who has the power will be implementing everything. So the person who is doing a wrong is almost the same person who is making it do. So who will you go to complain the person to? Because the person to do the complaint is the one who is partnered with the one who is in that ruckus. Hope you understand the theory, and I'm signing off. Don't forget to subscribe, because the next story I will be unfolding almost tomorrow.